Hello and welcome to Rolling Out Start Studio. I am your host, Portia Monique, and today we are speaking with Winter Dunn, who is an award-winning producer, director, and actress hailing from Gary, Indiana. Welcome to the show, Winter.
Thank you for having me. I'm happy to be here.
Wonderful. I'm very excited to speak to you because you have a passion for depicting rich Black stories, and we love telling rich Black stories as well at Rolling Out. But I want to talk to you a little bit before we get into the crux of what it is that you do as a writer, director. I'm sorry, not writer. You're a director and actress and a producer. Before we get into the crux of that, I want to start with your beginnings. How did you get started in this entertainment industry?
Yeah, well, I've been blessed. I've been in the arts honestly my entire life. So as you said, I'm from Gary, Indiana. I went to art school in Gary, Indiana, starting in the sixth grade. Back then, I was a dance major and really exploring my creativity through movement and through my body. And even then, it was very apparent that I was able or had like an instinct to connect emotion and storytelling in movement. So it wasn't just about facility and technique, like in a more ballet format. For me, it was like I was a contemporary, modern, grounded, like wanted to make you feel something in the way I moved and the way I expressed through dance. So that kind of is the start of my creativity. From there, I ended up at another art school in Chicago where I started training in theater. That's where I started directing. I directed my first one at play, and it was like, oh, this is kind of juicy because it kind of used all these like pieces of my experience, like dance and how to communicate with someone through your body. It's the exact same thing as directing someone and getting them to feel what you see in your mind's eye with the story, for them to then take it on and put it in their bodies and then like express it whichever way feels naturally. So I've been in the arts forever. Then I was a Fordham girl in New York. And, it's just, I've been bouncing around the country training, but I'm really blessed to say I've been an artist my entire life. I was born, my mother is an artist. It's kind of runs in my family.
Beautiful.
Yeah.
So producer, director, actress, let's delineate those, right? So what are your responsibilities as a producer versus a director, and of course, versus an actress?
Oh, absolutely. So as a producer, your biggest responsibility or my responsibilities have been like running the show outside of what we're seeing in front of that camera. So it's like the director has a vision. The director is like, hey, this is what I see. This is what I want. I want it in like this type of location or this type of home. And then like I see us driving up in this like blue Cadillac, like all those like visual things that the director like gets excited about and all the creatives get excited about, those juicy tidbits. The producer then sits down and go, how do I break down all that beautiful creativity into something that is tangible? Who am I calling to rent that car? What is the cost of that house? What are the permits? Like, can we, just really running the show kind of the way a stage manager would in a theater space. It's like, y'all want to play, y'all want to create, and producers love that. They're like, I want you to play. I want to create a space where you can go be your best self creatively. And so it's a hard job. Producer, I feel like I'm like the mom of the set, and it's a lot of responsibility and it's stressful. But when that thing is out in the world and people are enjoying it, it like makes it all worth it. So that's like the producer side of my brain, the right side of my brain. And then there's the very creative on another planet side of my brain. And that's where the director is. I love dreaming. I love dreaming up images, and I love like reading something and seeing it and being like, wait a minute, there's something here, because I'm immediately seeing something. I'm immediately like responding to it in a way that like makes me want to lean in. And so that as a director, you're championing this vision that you're reading from a script or getting from a treatment or whatever it is. And so that is the side of me that I really love, because I think you still get to utilize your producer skill set. You get to go, okay, this is what I want, but how can I make what I want with what I have? And that's the producer part. If you're going like, so what's our budget? Like, what are we able to do?
Right.
Yeah, so that's me as a director, and just like collaborating with all my creative, department heads, and making sure they're inspired and they feel like they can be their best self and their most creative and bring that creativity to this vision that I'm the one championing. It's a really special thing. Directing is so special. You feel like you're creating magic, honestly.
Yeah.
It's really cool. Yeah.
And you can tell that you're very passionate about it as well. And I would
Yeah.
say of the three, producing, directing, and acting, the one that you love the most is directing.
Yeah. I
Yeah.
love directing. I do. I do. I think that I am finally being someone who has jumped around in so many different spaces as a creative. I'm in a lane where I'm like, okay, this feels
Mhm.
right. This fits. You know what I mean? And it's a cool feeling.
So let's talk about creating a brand, right? So as we
Mm.
think about brand creators and we think about what's important in creating a brand, they, in my mind, would be very different, right? So creating your brand as a director, creating your brand as a producer, and also creating your brand as an actress. What's important when you're establishing your brand, and put it in perspective for us as well for when it comes to being a director, a producer, and an actress?
That's a really good question. I think early on for me, I kind of had a understanding about myself that I was not someone who wanted to do one thing. Like I was training to be an actress, but there was always something in me that was like, I don't know if you have the fight that it requires to only act, because everything that you're doing is in someone else's hands. You know what I mean? Like
Yeah.
you have to show up to the audition room, do your best work, and then hope that that resonates with the story that that director is trying to tell. And
Yeah.
something about that just didn't really feel like my personality. You know, I was like, I have friends who are going to make it in that because they have that passion for it. That I was like, I don't know if I have it in that way. I know it's there,
Mhm.
but I got to figure out how I do it. How does Winter do it? And so, really early on, I started branding myself as this multi hyphenate. It was like, I can do a little bit of everything. And at first, folks used to say, like, you need to master one thing and then do
Right.
other things. That was
Mhm.
like the advice I would be getting from all the older people that I had been meeting throughout, while I'm trying to build. And they're like, that's not going to work because no one's going to know how to place you. And if they don't know how to place you, they're not going to hire you. You got to like do one thing.
Right.
And I was just kind of like, I feel like I don't. Maybe you did, and that's valid. I don't think I do. I think I can do a little bit of everything. And I think that can be my brand. And I'm really happy that I just kind of stuck to my instincts, because I think that is now when we're talking about branding for each lane, I
Mhm.
don't really feel that pressure to have to like, brand myself in a specific way. I think as projects are rolling out, the brand shifts with what's coming out. So if I'm producing something that I love and I really want to champion, my brand and my socials and everything start being geared toward promoting me as a producer. But then as soon as the
Mhm.
next project is coming out that I've directed and I got these visuals that I love, that I'm like dreaming over, it becomes really organic to then start posting that stuff and then
Yeah.
start being that creative. So it really it's fluid. It's like I let the work speak for itself. That's been
Yeah.
my thing. I'm like, I do the work and put the work out in front of you and hopefully it resonates. But I don't know, maybe I just don't have the energy to like create another narrative through me. I'm like, you're gonna get what you're gonna get because I'm just gonna be myself.
Yeah.
And
Yeah. Yeah.
hopefully
Yeah.
that brand feels solidified and you feel like you have an understanding of like who Winter Dunn is.
Yeah. And I was going to
Yeah.
ask, and I think you already answered the question when it comes to social media. How do you brand yourself on social media in those three different lanes? And I think you
Yeah.
answered that question already. Yeah.
Exactly. I think I let the work speak for itself. And I'm always trying to do better about how to brand myself. I think coming out of COVID, I just didn't really want my face out there. I was kind of like, I'm right now, if
It's
you go to my
so
social.
beautiful, though. Like you
Thank
need
you.
it out there.
Thank
Yes.
you. You're so
Mhm.
kind. That is so sweet. Thank you.
You're
But it
welcome.
was just a season where I was just like, I'll post the press, I'll post the stuff, I'll post what people need to know to get connected to the work. I'll post the film social media account so people can always like be able to connect to the work. That's always where I'm at. Like connect to the work. And then I'll be here. I'll pop up too and do something cute for the camera. And that's kind of where acting is for me, I think, right now. Like when I do something, it's gonna be a vibe, and everyone's gonna be like, okay, that's cute. And I'm like,
That's
yeah,
cute.
we're
That's
having fun.
cute. Yeah. Now I want to stay with branding for just a second, and then we'll
Yeah.
get into your film, Junebug, that's
Okay.
currently out right now. But how
Yeah.
do you separate your brand from others in your industry?
Hmm. I'm always questioning, fighting for, looking for what authenticity looks like from
Mhm.
me. I think I am always doing the me work, and everything else just stems from what that work is. And so, to be honest, I'm not really trying to differentiate myself. I'm just trying to be myself. And I'm hoping in being myself, it isn't like anyone else, because no one can be me the way I can be me. But if I start trying to be you, or if I start trying to be her, or start trying to be them over there, they're always going to win. They're always going to be more vibrant. You're always going to be more vibrant bringing yourself versus me trying to put you on, you know? So I'm always like, if I can just find who I am, the stories I want to tell, the things that genuinely resonate with me, and I lean in fully and don't get distracted by what everybody's doing, the hope is that it will stand up and stand on its own and be its own thing, because I'm not only me, you know. Yeah. So that's my approach. I hope we'll see if it works long term.
No, I'm sure it will. Authenticity always rings true, and it always lasts, right? So as long as you're being true to yourself, you're being authentically you, that always comes out in the end. And it's one of the things that is key, and it remains true to who you are. So yes. So let's go back to Junebug. So directing Junebug, what role did you play? How did that come about? We saw some of the visuals and you were all in it. So tell us about directing Junebug.
Oh, I love Junebug. Junebug is my baby. I consider her like my little baby girl. Well, Junebug,
that's funny. I'm sorry. It's funny you said baby girl. You got to elaborate on that. Oh, no. I was just saying, it's funny that you said she's like, Junebug is like your baby girl. You put a gender to it. Why the girl piece of it?
I don't know, because she just is. I do that with film. I'll be like, she is so beautiful. Like, I love her. And Junebug is a little baby girl. It's a story about this Black girl who is now grown into a woman, but she's still dealing with and trying to find peace in the moments when she was a little girl. And I think that is true for all of us. We grow up, we start booking, we're cute, we're living our lives, we got our man, you know, whatever it is. But a lot of the stuff you went through as a kid, that stuff is lingering inside of you. And it is something we need to go back to, I think, sometimes, and do that self work. And so it felt very naturally to call Junebug a little girl, because the film is about girls and it's for Black girls. And I really love her. Directing Junebug was a very just like organic process. At the very beginning, I knew that I wanted to make this film. I knew what it needed to feel like, but I also knew I needed to find the right writer who had a really rich sense of language, who had a really like dreamy, I keep saying like almost creamy sense of writing. And it was like very obvious that I should call my friend Nikki Davis, who was a brilliant playwright, novelist. She's like incredible. We've worked in theater together. And I hit her up and was like, hey, I want to make this film. I have like 4 ideas floating in my mind's eye, but I just want to talk to you and see which of those ideas resonate with you, and we'll just take it from there. She's like, all right, I'm always down. So we met, I threw all these ideas at her. We almost did this like interracial rom-com movie. And then something told me, I was like, let's stop. Me and you keep talking about the role of fathers in Black girls' lives, and how every film, or most films we see about like the dad role, it's with his son. And we see them like playing baseball, and we see like this like son-father dynamic. And we kept talking about our experiences, and I was like, I don't think I've ever seen my experience with my dad on screen. And she's like, I've definitely never seen my experience with my dad on screen, but I think it's really fascinating. And I think there's a lot of people out there with these kind of interesting relationships with their parents that they don't even know how to fully categorize. Like it just was, you know, that was just how I grew up. And so that it became very organic. It was like, okay, this is our story. Let's start mapping it out. And we had a script in like 2 weeks, because Nikki is brilliant.
And apparently so are you. So I did get a chance to look at the short, and I like the way that I don't know the proper vernacular for it, if they're dream sequences or if they're flashbacks or what, you know, what they're called. But I love the way you flash in and flash out of her being a little girl versus her being current day with her beau, and, you know, they're dealing with everyday life. So talk about that for a little bit.
Yeah, absolutely. So we really wanted those memories and those flashbacks to feel present in the story. It's not like these little tidbits we pop out to. It's like, if anything, that's actually more the story. Like, we're walking through her memories with her as she is struggling to put them down on paper, because she knows what they feel like. She knows the senses, she knows the magic and like the energy of those memories. But how do you write your own memories when you can't fully describe that relationship for yourself? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And so that was like the role that they played. And it was really fascinating. We thought, our spine of the film would be the present day stuff. It was really important to me that she was in a healthy relationship, that she, from her environment, she looks like she's a successful woman. She's working, she's doing her thing. And that was important because I think women are often labeled like we're going to be the ones with daddy issues, but men aren't automatically forced into that narrative. And it's like, just because I had a interesting relationship with my father does not mean in any way that I'm not going to have healthy, flourishing romantic relationships in my adulthood. So that was really important for us to show, like, there's a lot of growth here. And this is a woman who's probably done a lot of therapy and has gotten to a point where she is really healthy and whole in herself. And that's why she's able to come back and walk through these memories again and feel some of the pain, but also feel some of the joy and some of the magic that was in those moments. And it's like, I am who I am because of that. Yeah. So how can I hate it? I just have to accept it and breathe through it. So
yeah. I love that. Accept it and breathe through it. Now, how do we watch Junebug? How do we watch it? I know it's out right now, but tell people where to find it. Yes.
Oh, I'm very excited. Junebug is now on Issa Rae Presents YouTube channel, also the Hooray YouTube channel. Issa Rae has really been just amazing with supporting this film, supporting what we're trying to do. And we are really honored to be on that platform. That platform was like the goal, honestly. It was like, I want to live on Issa Rae's YouTube because this is a film that I want to just be accessible. This was my first film as a director, my writer's first film, writing film. She's written a ton of plays and books, so she writes, but this was her first film. Most of the people on this team, it was our first time collaborating. So it was like, this is a work of love. It's a film of love, and it needs to just be out in the world. And who better to collaborate with than Issa? Like, she is like the queen mother of making things and putting it right in front of you and letting you digest it immediately. So I'm really proud of that. And I hope that the film resonates with that platform. It's been a cool journey.
Yeah, that in and of itself is amazing, to be on Issa Rae's platform and working with her and making sure that your first baby girl, so to speak, came to life with her. I love it.
Yeah.
Now, before Black women, listen, room for everybody Black. Come on. So before we get out of here, I want to give you the opportunity to talk about some of the other projects that you're working on, upcoming, those type of things.
Absolutely. I'm very excited. I'm in a film fellowship right now with Film Independent called Project Involve, and we are finalizing our short film, Dear Mama, which is a really special piece about a girl trying to get over the grief of her mom, and while the death of Tupac is currently happening. And so it's a story about how do the death of our icons make us look at the grief within our own household? How is this affecting the way I relate to the people I live with in my home, And it's a real, it's a cool film. These collaborators, once again, all new collaborators, because we're all in this like program together. So it's like new DP, new producers, like new writer. But this team, I think we built something really beautiful, and it's really intimate, and it definitely fits with as we're talking about, my brand of telling these intimate, rich Black stories that aren't the flashiest, and they're not, the bells and whistles, but it's the heart. And I think in that place, that's where, the jewels are. That's where the gold is. Everybody can flash, but it's something really grounded and really special about this film. So I'm very excited to share it. It'll be hitting festivals next year. So please tell people to check in with me, because we'll be posting updates soon. I'm really excited.
Yeah, it sounds very original. I don't think I've ever heard a story like that brought to life before. So, congratulations on that. And speaking of checking in with you, let us know how we can do that. How do we find you on social media? How do we check in? How do we follow your movement and stay up to date on all the things you're doing?
Oh, I love that. Yeah. So you can always follow me on Instagram. I'm at It's Winter Dunn. Very simple. If you even search Winter Dunn, I should be the first person that pops up. You can follow up with me on Twitter. I am terrible on Twitter. Twitter gives me anxiety. So I post all my ratchet thoughts on my burner account and then my professional.
Oh, you got a little fake account, girl.
I got a fake account.
That's right.
I talk about like the Real Housewives of Potomac. You know what I mean? I just like, I like a kiki over there. But my professional account is Winter Says Chill. You can always check in. I'll be posting updates as they come in. And then always my website, winterdunn.com. Everything will always be there. So please check in with me.
Amazing. Winter is doing phenomenal work, guys. Make sure you go follow her. Make sure you check out her film, Junebug. When Dear Mama comes out, make sure you follow that and check that out as well. It's definitely been a pleasure, Winter. You're gonna have to tell me what your little burner account is so I can go follow that and be with you and make sure that I'm being ratchet with you, girl.
Okay, girl. I'm gonna send it to you. Yeah, it's a little ratchet over there, but it's cute. It's still like a cute.
It's cute. We're gonna keep it cute always. Love it. Thank you so much. I'm your host, Portia Monique, and this has been another episode of Rolling Out Star Studios. Guys, take care, and we'll be following up with Winter and all the amazing things that she's doing. Thank you so much. Take care.
Thank you. Bye, y'all.